Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome. Hey, hey, hey. Have friends.
Look at this. I got a sunset light. This is
fancy.
This is real pretty.
It's not a sunrise light, but it helps you go to sleep.
No, it's like a colored light, but it's really pretty. It's like pink and blue.
Oh, okay. Because I've always wanted one of those like sunrise alarm clocks. I've always wanted one.
You be out here trying to become a influencer and some shit.
Yeah, with all your fancy lights.
You couldn't afford me. You couldn't afford me.
Her next Twitter X update, she's gonna be like glowing in purple and pink.
Try me though. I mean, shoot a number out there, and we'll see.
99 cents.
But
$3.
Hey, listen, TikTok sent me $1.99 the other day.
Whoa.
See?
Rolling in the dough over here. We're serious
Rolling
business.
Rolling in.
Yay, Margaret. Yay, Margaret. So let me ask you guys a question. So what do we think about Hobi being back?
I mean,
Ego.
Bad feelings? Is it possible to have bad feelings?
No.
Yeah.
no,
It was a trick question.
Yeah, it still kind of doesn't feel real.
I know.
It feels a little bit like a trick. But I think when we finally see him do something, like his first whatever it is, which I'm sure like things are being filmed and or whatever, like he, I think stuff's already happening, but like, so we'll probably see it before too much longer, but until then it kind of still doesn't feel real.
Yeah, and I think
it feels real.
Jin is lulling him into a false sense of security right now.
I think the false sense of security went out the window like the next day.
The very next day, according to Weavers, it looked very suspiciously like.
It felt a little bit like Hobi was asking for help.
Yeah.
It did.
It's a literal cry for help. Like, I'm overwhelmed, dude. And Jen's like, too bad, get to work.
Jen's like, suck it up, buttercup. Here we go.
You really think we were going to let you not work the day after discharge like a fucking amateur? No.
That was brilliant.
This is not amateur hour, my dude.
We are hitting the ground running.
I know. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are we not the biggest band in the world right now?
Right. Right. Jen's like, hello, I hugged 1,000 people and you haven't even got out of bed yet.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I am so
Like,
excited.
Get out of bed.
It's beautiful.
How dare you think you won't work the day after you get out of the military?
Yes.
So amazing.
I love it.
So yeah,
He's probably over there like, listen, I was in the recording studio at 12:01 and I let you sleep until like 6. So
Yep.
I love
You're
it.
like knocking on his door. Hello, it's 6:07. You got 7 extra minutes. Let's go.
Yep.
I mean, Hobi would have been used to it having just gotten up super early the previous morning, so it would have been normal for him.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, hilarious.
I thought it was
so
cute that when he
excited for that
posted the
episode.
photo today on Weavers, like he's basically like leaning against the wall, like, yep, I'm here, but
Back. And we're back.
yeah.
And we're back. All of those photos that he's posted since being back have just been so restorative.
I know. Seeing him be active on the Instas again has been joy. Pure fucking joy.
And then
We
Jimin's
got
drawing.
We got Elf Beanie Hobi
Yes.
again.
That's the best picture.
That's-
He's in Jimin's drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in Jimmy's drawing was great.
Yeah. If I would have had any liquid left in my body, I probably would have cried tears with seeing that, but I didn't. TMI. This is true.
That's just what happens to hags of a certain age.
That's exactly
Occasionally we have to like get rid of all the moisture in our body.
Yep.
So
Start from scratch.
the moisture out of people younger than us and replenish ourselves.
I've been using my gym and face stuff like.
It's true.
You just like mix a little Pepto in it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's true.
Topical is a valid method of taking medication.
No, it's not. But I did, when we were in Kansas City, and forgive me because my brain's not working, but the person that she dressed up as Jimin, when he was, having his episode, in her costume, and she had the bottle of Pepto-Bismol, she gave that to me. And so it's sitting on my shelf. So when Sean was like, do you need me to go get you medicine? Because I saw you have Pepto. I was in there. I said, you're not allowed to use that one. That one
That's a special Pepto.
that's a special one. So we had to go get me my own.
Aw.
If you're here and that was you, please comment because I don't remember her name either. There was a lot.
I don't. I know she was from Virginia. I know she was from your area because she was with McSue's.
Oh. Was it?
I'm not good with.
I know who. I think I know.
Anyway, if you're here, just know I did not use your Pepto.
Yeah. Now I remember. There it is. Yes, thank you, Suze.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. All right.
Pepto. Here we go.
I lost my place.
We're on item number 2.
Oh, huh. Well, anyway, speaking of the agenda,
Oh yeah.
Or not.
go ahead, Steph.
No, you. Go ahead.
You go, because I've got the next 2. You go.
Oh, okay. Because we don't have names on these parts, so I was confused. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're changing up our lives just a little bit. Today's going to be a little different because Wednesday night was different because of Hobi's return. We did not have a live. But from now on, what our plan is, let's see how good we can do this or well we can do this. Wednesday nights are going to be our night where we're going to highlight we're going to go through all the news, like everything that's BTS related that's happened from the week prior, right? And then if anything new has happened. Sunday nights, we're going to spend the plan is to spend a few minutes talking about the latest highlights of news, but then get into kind of more like meaty, in-depth topics for the remainder of the time, and then try to make sure we try to have an after dark session. So we're going to try to shorten up the news parts on Sunday night and save all that for Wednesday nights because we felt like we were getting a little bit repetitive. And so that is the plan.
You guys seem to really like on Sunday when we spent all that time talking that discussion that was prompted from Jimin's birthday.
Yeah. So we're going to make that. So you guys, we encourage you to help us stay on track.
Nicely, of course.
Yeah. Say, hey, Hags, get with it. Hey, Hags, move it along.
Your shit together, Hags. Come on.
Get
Your
shit
dick.
together,
Unless you're
Hags.
calling us hags, we're going to ignore you.
Yep.
You see the occasional get your shit together, Hags.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give us
Yeah.
about 15 minutes after our banter, like, or just playing around. Give us about 15 minutes to get through news, maybe 20, and then be like, okay, let's go, move along.
Moving right along.
Yep.
Footloose and fancy free.
So-
Okay, so Discord and watch parties. Yes, we still have those things. You guys pretty much all know, I'm sure, about our Discord. If you are new here, just joining us for the first time, we do have a Discord server. That is where we do most of our community-based activities, aside from our lives here. And so you can come and hang out with us and meet other armies in the community and have lots of fun chat. It's not just BTS in there. We talk about a lot of other stuff too. We've got Hangul lessons going on. Recently, Steph lost her mind and decided she wants to walk really early in the morning. And so people are doing that with her.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You know what, Stephanie, I'll have you know, I have an alarm that goes off at 6 o'clock every morning, and so far all week, I have looked at it and went, I'm not fucking get out of bed.
You can just chat. You don't have to walk. Just come hang out with us.
Oh, so I can stay in bed.
Yeah.
Well, then I might be there tomorrow.
You guys can have a tiny little dot going, move, bitches! Faster! Faster!
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. 6 a.m. Central. Okay, so here's the thing. Somebody asked about time. It's 6 a.m. Central because that's when I can do it. But obviously, if somebody else wants to do it and that time doesn't work, you guys can use the Boar Lounge at any time to organize a walk of your own. So don't feel like it has to be organized by one of us. That's just when I'm doing it because I got to get up and get to work and all that. But you can do one anytime. Just talk to us and we'll help you plan it. Or talk to me and I'll help you plan it.
It was Charlotte with the Pepto. That's who it was.
Charlotte,
yes.
thank you, McSuze.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yes.
Please let her know that I have not touched the Pepto. It's sitting on my shelf like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I have Pepto at work, and I keep it up next to my BTS dolls on the desk.
That's where mine is.
Where it belongs.
So we've got lots, like Steph was saying, anybody's welcome to use the Boar Lounge at any time to hang out. You can chat, you can even video chat with people, just hang out. We do have watch parties. We have several watch parties. Probably let's say the biggest one is the weekly content watch party that I host every Thursday, where we go over that week's blog content and we watch highlights from it and talk about it and discuss. It's a lot of fun. We do have bi-weekly Friday watch parties for Run Gin, which Patricia hosts. We had one this past Friday, so there won't be one this coming Friday. And then we have a Monday watch party, which is hosted by Patricia and Shells for Ginny's Kitchen right now. And there are some European watch parties, which happen during the day if you're in North America, but for Europe and other time zones around that part of the globe, it's in the evening. And they watch a lot of this. They do a lot of the same things. They parallel us. They have a weekly content watch party. They're watching Ginny's Kitchen, etc. And those are hosted by various wonderful people and members of our project community. So if you're not in our Discord yet, please come join us. You can go to ap529.com/links. You'll find a link to join our Discord server. And every time something new pops up, we tend to be watching it in the Discord server too. So if you want to watch it with friends, like we just watched Hobi getting out of the military and we watched his live all together and we were able to chat and scream into the void at each other. It's better to Bangtan with friends. Yes. Yes. Really quick, we have a special party that we are having on Halloween. This was a request from the community. Lana asked, hey, can we have a Halloween party? So we're having a Halloween party in our Discord server in the Bora Lounge, Thursday, October 31st. We are switching since the weekly content watch parties on Thursday. We're just going to move it to Friday and switch. So Halloween party will be on Halloween and we'll do the weekly content the following day on November 1st.
And there's a really high likelihood we will, in fact, watch the episode of Run Gin because it's a Halloween-themed episode.
We shall see. But there will definitely be games. You can feel free to come in costume if you want. It's not required. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Just low chill hanging out. If you don't have anything else to do, come and hang out with us on Halloween.
I'll be dressed like a vertically challenged primary care physician.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Did
you get that at school Halloween?
Yes, I work on Halloween, so.
You paid a lot of money for that costume.
Boy.
I paid 6 figures.
I'm going to be going as a bitter blog writer.
I'll be going as a shriveled up, I don't know what by that point.
We'll all be going as hags, basically.
Yeah, I forgot to add hag to the end of mine. That's also valid.
They do celebrate Halloween in South Korea.
But we're a special kind of hag, though. We're the kind of hags you take screenshots of and then go to Twitter and post.
Yeah,
True. This is true.
That's happened to us now.
It has to be. Apparently.
Yep. Hey, but at least they're talking about us.
It's happened to us twice.
Our name is not
Even
in
though
their
you
mouths,
hate
so
me,
they
you
don't
know
know
me.
who the fuck we were.
That's exactly right.
You hate me, but you know my name. Anyway.
Yep.
Moving on.
Let's talk the big news that Happy is releasing on November 15th.
Yeah.
AK claps for Jen.
Be a shout.
I have to shout out Ribbon, who is a genius, And
Yes.
she predicted this. She predicted this. Maybe one day we can get her to give us a lesson on how she comes up with all her theories, but she's always correct. So the promotion schedule is out. And just today I added everything that's on the promotions calendar is on our Google calendar. So if you guys get our newsletter, the newsletter that goes out tonight will have the links for those of you that aren't syncing your Google Calendar with our Google Calendar. You can go in and push that link and sync them, and that'll all be on there. But the big events that are coming up. So this Friday night, we have a music video coming out. We will have a watch party for that in the Discord, so come join us. So that'll be really cool. Yeah, just great things ahead for that. Oh god. Okay, brand ambassadorships just like seem to be growing. Like daily we get a new one for him. I don't know how to say the first one. How do you say that? Laneige?
It's beige. Like the orange is beige.
Oh, Laneige. Okay. So Laneige, so far we've got Laneige,
Yep.
Gucci, Visit Soul, Fred, Alo or Aloe?
Aloe, I believe.
I think it's
Aloe.
Aloe.
Yoga.
Okay, and I went in and immediately ordered the sweatshirt that he was wearing in that promo.
Aw.
That sweatshirt looks so good.
Yeah.
Marketing works, friends.
Yeah,
Marketing
it does.
works.
Yep.
It does. I bought the face stuff and now the sweatshirt. So
Yeah. Had I ever heard of this brand before Jen?
nope. Will I ever do yoga in it? Hell no. But I bought it.
That is cool.
And you're going to wear it proudly.
Yes.
You'll just be like, if you know, you know.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Well done. Okay, Lisa, you're on, or Quint, you're on. I will return, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just have to go take care of something. I'll be back.
Namjoon, he's been posting on Instagram like a little fool. He interacted with Jin on Instagram, commenting on his little tracksuit pictures, and was kind of like lightly trolling his young. Talking about how wonderful his casual outfit was and all of that, and I'm sure it has some sort of connotation with the military, but basically he was trolling him. So we love to see it. And then he also did a Instagram story where he posted the lyrics from Groin and with a little clip from the video, some lyrics, the lyrics about thoughtless bastards, basically. If that's all you really. So he was saying something about something, and we're not going to speculate, but he was saying something about something.
Okay, I'm back. I had to go get these.
Infer where you will. There's a lot of thoughtless. This was a few days ago, by the way. This was like earlier in the week. So not something that's happened within the last couple of days. This was well earlier in the week. But
It was relevant. But
Still relevant. Still relevant.
So yeah, and Lost has been nominated at the Shots Awards. An EMEA, and I don't know what this is. This is my first time reading this, so I'm learning too. The EMEA nomination, Envy of the Year, and apparently that's happening on November 20th. So we'll find out if Lost won. Yeah, and that is what's going on. Oh, and he did post another picture on his Instagram in his band uniform when he was performing at the Korean festival. Super cute. Really, he's got his glasses on.
He may never want to sing Spring Day again. He might be like, I'm over Spring Day.
He's got his glasses on, and there's more gray happening in his hair. And when I tell you that I'm losing my mind over it.
Yeah, because there was that other one, and he posted on Instagram, and then he deleted it.
The salt and pepper is happening.
A distinguished gentleman.
Look at this distinguished gentleman.
Yep.
So fine. So
Yes.
fine with that great
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it hard lately too. It's been cute.
Looking really cute in his band uniform and performing with his little heart out. And that's not June. Moving on to less fun topics.
I will take on Yoongi.
Well, of course you will.
I will. If you don't have a Twitter account and you have not been on the Bird app as of late, and you have thought that the anti-Yoongi stuff has died down, you would be unfortunately mistaken.
Womp womp.
Because as soon as armies are nice and loud and celebratory on that app, you get the energy going in the negative direction from a few people. And I think it's safe to say, like, there was a lot going on today, including some really, really serious stuff. A particular person posting something that was pretty unhinged. And I've also been reporting a lot. I reported a lot yesterday, and those reports are getting almost instantaneous results of those accounts getting suspended or shut down because the tweets themselves are so abhorrent.
Yeah.
I mean, they're way beyond, just like making a bad joke. It's
Or
into
like
some
saying that
really,
you hate somebody.
yeah, it's into some really triggering territory, the kind of stuff. So I guess the good news would be is that when people tweet things like that, it's very easy to get that app to take those accounts down because those posts are so unhinged and violate several rules at once. Mm-hmm. So I think though, and we all had we had talked about this in our Discord. I think really the clue that we have is just to always go back to the positivity. And that's not to say that we hide our heads in the sand and pretend that things aren't happening. That's not what we do. What we do though is not give any more energy or breath to those very, very negative tweets and those antis that are on there, because that is their life's blood engagement. Okay. Whether it's social media or whether it's people, standing out in front of the Hive building doing negative stuff. I mean, attention is what they want.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I'm not going to tell you like a parent what I think everybody should do on their social media accounts. But I will say for myself, as someone who is learning to navigate Twitter for the best results possible, is that if you want to talk about negative stuff, it's easier to do in the group chats, right? Mm-hmm. With some trusted people, or outside of the app itself with some trusted people. Because what happens is, when bad stuff happens, I go immediately to the group chat, and that's where we discuss how to report and should we report it to Hive, and here are the things that we should say, and da-da-da-da-da. And then when I'm done with that part of it, I go back on my timeline and yell about Jin and yell about Hobi and yell about Taeyoung getting an award. And I can do all the fun stuff on the chat as well, because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but we have everything all happening at once. So we got to try to fight the negative the right way and push the positive the right way, right? So, I mean, I see the comments, tired of the complaining about it on X. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a whole lot of that because I've done a really good job with my timeline, I feel. But I did see something that was interesting to me today, just really quick. I did see something that was interesting to me today, where someone on Twitter was saying, we need to get the TikTok armies, the Instagram armies, the Facebook armies involved in what's going on. And I think we do a pretty good job of that when we come on the lives and we tell you guys about the news. I mean, most of the news comes from that app because it's so fast and because it's text-based. So it's easy to spread things around. And so I think we do a pretty good job of that. But if there's ever anything that anybody wants us to address or talk about, like give us a shout out. If you follow me, you know that I do Twitter updates as often as possible, usually 3 to 4 times a week. And so, yeah, but I just think I wish I could tell you guys that the negativity has gone away for him.
I think the best way to deal with this, negativity, is what you said earlier, is to continue with the positive.
Yeah.
And to just focus on, put your energy into that, recognize what's happening, but then turn around and put your energy into something else.
Right.
Because
And
like you said, we don't put our heads in the sand, but we look for a better solution or something better to put our time into.
right. And Jocelyn had brought this up earlier in the Discord. You know, when people are talking about, oh my God, look how awful this tweet is, and you share the screenshot of the awful tweet, you're putting it out there again and again and again and again. And so I would just think about that. Right. Before you repost that awful stuff, because there was some really awful shit that came over the timeline today about Yoongi, and people kept reposting it. So I think continuing to be positive and talking about that kind of stuff in group chats and in private with people that you trust is the way I combat it. Right.
Yes.
And remember, HIBE has their very fancy reporting system. So
they do.
Take your screenshot,
right,
get the link to the place that's sharing it, and go report it on the HIBE portal. And that should be the extent of sharing those negative things.
Right. So what I shared, sorry, Doc, go ahead.
Well, because HIBE has an extensive legal team that are in their F around and find out era. So
yeah, feel free to report to the platform so that they lose their account. That's great. And then report to HIBE so that they can take actual legal action. Sharing it with your friends does not a whole lot to actually affect change.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're
sharing it in a reporting group.
Right. Unless you're saying, hey, let's go report this. But so what I reposted today was not pictures of the RIIZE, but instead I reposted pictures of the armies that were there, those armies that were there from across the world, basically. Yeah. Singing songs and doing food trucks, and they had purple ribbons around their wrists, and they had smiles on their faces, and they were just having a grand old time celebrating BTS.
And they were so precious because they basically formed a human barrier between the building and the RIIZE with signs that were OT7. So
they did.
It was super precious.
Yeah.
What did today.
And we're not saying that you have to fly to Korea.
No, none of us are flying to Korea for this.
None of us are flying to Korea for this.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be there.
Right. And so that made me feel really good, because yes, I couldn't be there, but watching those armies there celebrating that's the best part of the fandom, is when we are just overwhelmingly positive in the face of people who are frankly wasting their time and their money and their energy, but you know, it is what it is, right? So I did get to put some good positivity on there.
It will kind of hit on this and other areas kind of around it in a little bit later in the live as well.
And it's it's not that we don't want to talk about it. We do. We just want to make sure that we're giving the proper respect to the subject, and and not we would never want to contribute to any hysteria going on about any subject related to BTS. So
for sure.
Anyway, but speaking of positive, I get to do the next one too.
We've gone over a lot of it, so we can.
J-Hope is home. Who cried when he came out of the building? Who cried?
Yeah.
And then cried again when Jin came out. And then cried again because Jin was in Gucci.
We were all watching together. No, we didn't.
I was more screaming than crying, but
didn't cry yet. I cried when he did his I'm your hope, you're my hope, I'm J-Hope.
Yes.
I did cry.
Yes. I did actually. That was the first time I shed tears.
Yes.
He did a little misty when he did that at the end of his live. Yes.
And Jin helping Hobi by holding the microphones so that nice lady didn't have to kneel there and be in all the pictures. Mm-hmm. He was absolutely classy.
The whole
Yeah.
time in his head, you were just going. He was just saying, "I can't wait to see the memes."
I
Yep.
know. I know.
And then
he's
I was sitting there like, how did they not have a plan for this? Because she clearly walked in like, I don't know, there's no plan for this, so I'm just going to hold them. I'm like, don't they have a stand? Like,
I think it was a combination of things. Like they didn't know how many microphones it was going to be,
Right.
and because there were clearly mics for like every news outlet, so they didn't know exactly how many they were going to have, and then they probably didn't know before they got there where they were going to be able to set up for him to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm sure it was like a cacophony.
yeah. And then I was like, who let this like 50-year-old woman?
Yeah.
Like, isn't there an intern somewhere?
I'd be able to hold it for about 2 seconds, and I'd be like, "Nope, sorry, J-Hope, you're on your own."
Jen was a king for taking it over. Like, absolutely.
Fred, whoever did his jewelry, was celebrating because they got the great shots of all the rings and everything.
Yeah. It was Fred.
Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
Advertisement on that day.
Yes. And also, I don't think that they knew really ahead of time that he was planning on speaking. I think they found out once they got there that he was planning on speaking to them.
And
so that's all of that meant they didn't have a plan.
Right. And what a speech it was. It was heartfelt, humble, respectful, giving shout outs to how hard the other people in the military work and how grateful he was for that. I mean, it was just, it was wonderful. It was so wonderful. I mean, he could have literally said anything and we all would have been like this, but instead he came out with like a banger, you know.
Yeah, it was so precious.
It was
And
really
his live, his live was wonderful. And then he, on Instagram, he shared all of his awards, this multitude of awards. You could just tell he was really proud. And I think he surprised himself with how well he did. Not necessarily how well he did, but, you know, like how well it went for him, maybe, so to speak, and how proud he ended up leaving. I don't think he necessarily like really didn't want to do it, but like, when you're in the middle of a thriving career, do you really want to leave your thriving career to go and join, you know, the military? So, you know, I think he was, it was really nice to see how proud he was of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we got like Steph said, we got the Weverse interaction then. So he's posting on there. And basically Jin razzing him, being like, suck it up. You're on the clock now.
Yep. Back to the real world.
You're a superstar. So let's show a little hustle.
Yeah.
And of course, in the way that only brothers can.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's like, are you an amateur? Please.
When I read the, you know, working on the first day of discharge like an amateur, I could hear him laugh. I
already had 3 things recorded by this time.
Yeah, exactly.
recorded a whole song, and I was on my way to a mountain by this time, my dude. So, what are you, an
Slack
amateur?
was halfway up by now.
You're slacking.
Yep.
I already had 4 brand deals in place.
Yep. Exactly.
I'd already had 6 people congratulate me for my discharge by now.
So he's like, caffeinate, tie your shoes, let's go. We're leaving.
Yeah.
And Hobi just basically like, hey, okay.
Yeah,
Here we go.
I did find it interesting. I didn't know until I saw the translations that the semicolon is used over there to be like the sweating emoji. Like,
Yeah. Oh.
so
That's cool.
the translation. So when he was like, Jen, I'm a little baffled today, and then like 3 sweating guy emojis.
It is here that he has in fact been gin-napped.
Yeah, that was when I was like, oh my god, he got kidnapped. And then Jen's response makes it seem like he did. He made him film that.
Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more
That
sense.
interaction all felt like he actually did get kidnapped and had to film a show. And he's like, what do you think? I'm not going to make you work on your first day back? Like,
So you think they were together when he posted that? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily in
no,
this
but I think he had.
but-
I think he had already filmed the Run Jin.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, because he
I
was
did
like,
not
"I'm
catch
a
on to
little
that, so thank you for
baffled today."
clarifying.
I feel
feel like it was a fun little interaction on Weverse that they were using to maybe throw us some hints.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it felt like a hint between him and then Jen saying, "What did you think you were not going to work on your day off?" Like that all felt
He was
like
lightly calling for help.
it felt like he got Jen napped. He had to film a run two soak, and then he was like, "Jen, what are you doing to me?"
Yeah.
Our
Speaking of hints, though, I will say this. So that you see that picture behind Doc that Hobi posted today?
Look at it. I'll get out of the way.
So
Look at
here's
it.
the deal, all right? And this could be totally Delulu talking. However, Hobi probably noticed that there was some scuttlebutt going on outside the Hive building.
Yeah.
I guess, right? And he probably could guess that some of it was negative because you know what funeral wreaths look like, right?
They're not dumb.
They're not dumb, right? So even if he didn't see it with his own eyes, he probably had it mentioned to him. So the fact that he went on his IG and posted a picture looking happy and moisturized and ready to get to work,
He was gifted
says to me, listen, you guys, focus on us. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I could be totally Delulu for thinking that, but think about the timing of everything and when he posted that pic and what he's doing in the pic. Does he seem bothered in that pic? No, he does not. No, he doesn't. So I take from that, everything's going to be okay, you guys. That's in my opinion. So.
I agree. Because his timing was pretty much like, come on, guys, look at how happy I am. Look at how unbothered we are.
Yeah.
We're messing around over on Weverse. We're filming shit. We're doing stuff. Look at me. I'm already in the dance studio. Like,
Right. So basically, anybody who's worried that they didn't see the members that they wanted to see or worried about things for other reasons, I'm not saying you shouldn't worry. I'm not telling you what to feel. But I'm telling you what they are showing us, and the timing that they show us these things is him, Hobi, happy, living his best life. So there you go.
Well, and which is every single one of them within a day or a couple of days of their discharge is back to work and looking very happy about it.
yeah.
So there you go.
I'm anxious. He's got that 6-month plan. I don't know how much Jin is disrupting that 6-month plan, but I assume he'll be able to get back to his 6-month plan before too long.
I'm hoping it's just a couple days. No.
Just a couple days disruption.
I'm so excited for that run two soak episode.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
So good.
I know. It's going to be so good. Anyways, all right. Katie has popped him in.
Yes, I do. Muse, the album, I don't know if you remember it from July of this year. I believe it came out in July. And Who, the single, are still winning awards. It kind of, I feel like it came out strong and then I got a little quiet and then all of a sudden it started hitting a lot of Billboard awards. And I'll be completely honest, I can't keep all the Billboard charts straight. There's a lot of them, but it keeps charting on Billboard, I think, for radio play and stuff like that. So awesome. And we also saw Jimin's drawing in the studio again in the pictures from Hobi's discharge. He had a little party in the studio and Jimin's drawing is still there.
I know.
It's Hive legend at this point. I don't think they're gonna erase it ever.
I don't think they should.
It's so
At the
precious.
very least, we know at this point they're not gonna erase it before Jimin is back.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't think they're gonna erase it.
they're gonna let Jimin erase it when he's done. If
And
he
they'll-
wants to.
Just gonna film it.
Aww.
Okay, and what else? Okay. And I'm going to speed through so we can get to our topics for tonight. Taeyang V, Love Me Again. Again, do you remember that one? How does he do it? Does he does it like this, I think?
We did it both ways.
My hands aren't nearly as pretty as his. Love Me Again has over 700 million streams on Spotify Global. That is which is the first and only B-side song by a K-pop artist to do so. So Kim Taeyong's new name, although he will always be Kim Taeyong for us, and truly that is the highest compliment. We have been called out before and told that we're being mean to him. No, the highest compliment, and we truly believe that if he were to know of that nickname, he would be proud. But his other new nickname is the B-side queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he won the Best Artist of October award at the Korea Grand Music Awards.
Yes, he did.
Good job, Taekyung.
And I'm just going to keep whizzing through the Maknae line.
Don't we all wish we could?
Pipe dreams, it's fine.
Not the Maknaes.
Pipe dreams right there.
They're my kindred spirits, except I'm twice their age.
Dreams in some cases. It's fine.
I Am Still, the movie. Again, not sure if you remember it from a month or so ago. It's the number 8 highest grossing concert movie in international box artist history.
Jungkook.
One of the first 7, but
Jungkook.
Yay, Jungkook.
All right, moving on to other news. The 2024 Mama is coming up. And so to be
Mnet Asian Music Awards, if you didn't know that, guys.
So the eligibility period to be nominated for anything was October 1st of 23 to September 30th of 24, which is why we don't see all 7 involved in the nominations. So they're up for multiple awards. The one that we can affect is the Fan Choice Award with Jizza Daesang. And it is RM, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook are all nominated for that. As of 3 minutes prior to this live beginning, the current standings were Jungkook was at number 1, Jimin is at number 3, V is at number 4, J-Hope moved up to number 7, and RM is at number 10. So they are all 5 in the top 10 right now. You can vote for 3 of them per day. So you have 1 vote per day, but you can vote for 3 members. You also vote for a female. You have to vote for at least 1 to 3 females as well at the same time. So there's a whole list of female artists who are also nominated for that.
There's really good ones in there. Find who you want to vote for.
Some really good ones. One thing I do love about the Mnet app is that they will hold your previous day's voting, so you don't have to scroll through again.
It's nice.
So you only have to, if you're changing who you're voting for, you have to scroll, but otherwise it'll just hold your previous voting. You just hit vote, watch an ad, and you're done.
We do have a channel in our Discord for streaming and voting, and there is voting information in there for the Mama Awards.
So the app itself lets you vote for 3 artists a day. You can also vote on the Bird app. So there's rules for how to vote on the Bird app in the streaming charting channel in the Discord. So yeah. All right. So Artist of the Year, Daesang, has Jimin and Jungkook nominated. Song of the Year, which is another Daesang, has RM for Lost, Jimin for Who, and Jungkook for Standing Next to You nominated.
We know those guys.
I know, right? Album of the Year, which is another Daesang, has Jungkook for Golden, is nominated for that.
Yeah, we're a little salty about the RPWP snub there, but
you know, it's at least one of them ended up on the list. That's all I'm excited about that. But yeah, I mean, is what it is. All right, Best Male Artist, Jimin and Jungkook. Best Dance Performance Male Solo, Jimin for Who and Jungkook for Standing Next to You. Best Rap and Hip Hop Performance, RM for Lost. So those are the nominations. Make sure you vote. We have, I believe, until October 25th to vote for Fan Choice Awards. So make sure you vote every day for that. It's super, super exciting. So, yay!
Very cool. Awards.
Yes, that is one.
Okay, guys. Another trophy.
Another trophy.
I heard mic drop the other day, and all I could think of was you guys and Ribbon singing that.
I can't even sing
I
it.
was
So.
singing about coffee on my way to get my 3rd espresso today. I was like, another coffee. I was using my J-Hope mug.
Listen, there's probably about a 47% chance that when they win a new award, they do that.
They do that too.
So
Yeah.
probably around a
They do that.
47%.
Did you see my bag?
There's a pretty high probability that
Kim Tae-young definitely says, "Do you see my bag?" Kim Tae-young definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, guys, the blog. We are marching ever forward towards the end of our OT7 content on the 529 blog. Woo. We are in week 41. We are on the second disc of the Proof Anthology album next week. This week is the first disc. I recovered. Which is a title track retrospective, and it also includes Yet to Come and Born Singer, which is in the top 10 of my favorite BTS songs of all time, Born Singer. So we had a great time at our weekly watch party this past Thursday. It was a lot of really cool information. If you guys haven't checked out the blog this week so far, please do so. It's a great one. I say that without bias. It's a great one. And next week looks to be equally as good. Who knew that talking about this anthology album was going to be so cool? But it is. Next week we are covering disc 2, like I said, which includes Run BTS, the song, and the list of tracks that were chosen by the members to include on this album from their discography. So we get into talking about why they selected those songs and what those songs mean to them. And it's all wrapped up into also talking about their journey making their photo books. And so it's weird how they all kind of tie up in together. So it's really great. Next week we'll be dropping, it will be dropping at midnight tonight, Eastern time. And it is called Run Beautiful. So make sure you tune in. There's going to be a lot of rudeness, and there's going to be a lot of feelings, and then there's going to be a lot more rudeness. If you've seen their photoфолиos, you know what I mean.
Those photoфолиos, man.
Chef's kiss.
So,
yeah.
Really are. Can I just say that this week was one of the funnest weeks to create the flow sheet for, because I was forced to watch, and I had to go and find, unboxing. I was forced to in-depth see these photoфолиos. It was sacrifices for
sacrifices.
That's
sacrifices.
Yeah. So make sure you come and check it out. It drops at midnight tonight, Eastern time, whatever that means for you. And we'll have fun. And come and join us at the weekly content watch party next week. And now, for something completely different.
That's a horse of a different color.
And that's always of a different color. Before we move into tonight's discussion topic, a wee bit of a disclaimer for you all. These are only our opinions. And whatever we talk about, and I think those of you who have been with us for a while now, you know this about us now. No matter what we talk about, we are always as fair and respectful in our discussion as we can be. We try to, and we do our research as much as we can find. And if we're not sure about something, we will tell you, we will either not talk about it at all, or we will tell you that we are not sure and it's just conjecture. So keep that in mind as we discuss things that we are about to discuss, that if something is not a fact, we will say it is not a fact.
That's fair.
Yes.
So
this was a topic. I think, Steph, you should introduce this topic because it was an idea that you had, actually.
Okay. So what I was given the task or the pleasure of choosing one of Sunday night's kind of topics that we're going to talk about. And with Yet to Come being one of the things that was discussed this week, I just thought it would be really interesting to kind of dive in to what we as ARMY anticipate for the future of the group and ARMY.
And bubbles this week.
Yeah, it was one of the Bangtan bubbles. Yeah, that's where I got it from. Thank you. I was like, where did I come up with this great idea? Oh, it was a bubble. So I didn't come up with it at all.
I mean, you adapted it.
Put
It's
it
fine.
on the agenda. I have no memory. But so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what we're going to talk about, so that in the comments we're not getting, are we going to talk about, are we going to talk about, are we going to talk about? So you guys will have a general idea. Okay, so bear with me. So then we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about their music, in the past, and where do we feel like it's evolving to now that we've seen chapter 2, now that we've seen 2 members come out of military service, how they are. What do we think we're going to see in the future? Hold your thoughts. We're not talking about it yet. Okay, I'm talking to the comments, not you guys. Okay, then we're also going to talk about their growth. I mean, how quickly it happened, to the point that they were even so overwhelmed that they were like, I don't even know if I want to do this. I mean, it was just like, and when you hear Namjoon talk about it and like Suga talk about it, and how the fear of, wanting to land the plane, safely, all that, it's just really interesting. And what does that mean for Korea, that has brought so much attention, right? BTS has brought so much worldwide attention to Korea. And now we have all of this stuff going on, like today with the RIIZE, and the other day with the RIIZE, and the things that are going on. And how do the different cultures, communities, all the different fandoms connect, relate, understand each other? Will one culture influence another? That kind of stuff. So we're going to kind of get into it. I can get a little bit deep, but I think it's a really interesting topic, because especially right now with what went on with RIIZE, is it RIIZE? Is that how you say it, with that member?
Yes. Seunghan.
There's a lot, and with what happened with Yoongi, there's just a lot of eyes on the way that the Korean music establishment handles things, because it's so different than how others are perceived to. So we're going to talk about stuff like that. So hold on for your hat, with your hats. So here we go.
Hold on. Hat in hand.
Hat in hand.
My hat is in my head.
Tilt the
Sorry.
hat.
Milady.
Yep.
It's an appropriate hat for this conversation.
Yep.
Beard.
And go. Yeah.
Well,
Because I'm probably going to keep my mouth shut, because you guys know me. I get.
Well, you know what though? I think it's fine when you are very clear that you're stating an opinion, and that's what we try to do. We try to say, this is a fact, this is an opinion,
we in the blog, to start it off, in the blog, I went over how Yet to Come felt very much like just like a personal request to ARMY. And their promotions after, because remember, this album came out literally 2 days or 3 days before Festa. Came out on Stephanie's birthday on the 10th, June 2022. And so it was right around Festa time. And we know what happened during Festa 2022. There was a lot of great stuff, but they also had that dinner, which we do talk about in the blog again, because it's relevant again. That was not so great at the time, because there was a lot of that's when they announced that they were going to be taking a break from group activities, and that they were going to be working on solo projects, and they needed a break because they've been going nonstop pretty much since 2013. Prior to that, they had literally only taken one extended break in those entire 9 years. I think they took a 2-month break in like late 2018. And that was because they were all at the point of extreme burnout. And they had been considering disbanding. And so when they renegotiated their contracts, it was put in there. I don't know if it was put into the contract per se, but it was discussed as a group with the company that they would be taking a extended break sometime that year. And so they did. And that was the only break that they took before this. So clearly they needed another break. And so that's where Yet to Come fits into this, because they knew they were going to be saying all of that to us. They knew they were going to be dropping all of that on us during the Festa dinner. And so when they were doing the promotions for Yet to Come, it very much feels like, I know how you feel right now, but just stick with us because we're coming back to you. Like, we have more, and the best is yet to come. Like, the best moments are going to be in the future. So don't worry. We're still here for you. Stay with us, and we'll have so much more awesomeness in the future. That's basically what it felt like. And so the reflecting on, it's smart because they also like touched on the nostalgia of how important everything in their past was. And when you watch the music video, it has all those references to their old MVs. There's so much in there. There's so many little Easter eggs that connect. And so they're honoring their where they've come from, but looking forward to the future and asking us to do the same. And so that's what this album is all about. That's what Proof is all about. It's about recognizing their journey and the evolution and their personal growth, what we're actively talking about right now. So to Stephanie's point, like, what do we think about their journey and their evolution and growth to start us off?
Big question is what it is.
Yes, it did feel like a promise. Someone said it felt like a promise.
Right.
Cassie.
Well, boy,
You know, if you look at the songs that were new on the album, like Yet to Come, and we won't get to it until next week, but the Run BTS song,
Yeah.
it was both a promise and a mic drop moment. Like, we're bulletproof and we're going to keep running with you guys, and the best is yet to come. So please, like, fucking trust us, stick with us. You have no idea what's in store for you during chapter 2 while we're gone. And when we come back, you know, they've already told us that they're going to be doing some crazy ass shit for the HYYH 10-year anniversary. So, like, we already know they've already got a lot of their post-military planned. And the album really gave us, like, you know, like, we're going to keep running with you guys. And also, the best is yet to come. So it was like a hug and a promise. Is how the new songs on the anthology felt to me.
Yes.
And then, you know, right on the heels, we had that festive dinner that none of us like to talk about. Now that we've seen all of the shit they've dropped, well, not even here, and we've got 2 of them back, the festive dinner hits different. They were trying to tell us. They were so trying desperately to tell us. Like, they were preparing us as best as they were allowed to for this solo era, you know, the coming back era. And they were trying to tell us, like, we aren't going to leave you guys in the lurch. Not leaving you. We're just doing what we have to do. We're serving our country the way we want to, the way we're supposed to. You know, we're doing our duty, and we're not leaving you alone in that time. We're going to keep giving you guys things, and we're going to keep.
We will never leave you alone.
well, they know how squirrely. They know how squirrely we get, though. They know how squirrely we get.
We'll never, ever leave you alone.
It's just you and Taeyeon.
Yeah.
It's not just me, Taeyeon. It's all of them. They all stop.
They've all been ridiculous.
And I've also heard theories. This is a theory, but I can see the logic behind it. That they also knew somewhat that if anyone wanted to try to dethrone them or besmirch things that they had done, that this was going to be the time to do it. And so they were anticipating that certain forces would probably try to take advantage of their vulnerability. And I can see the logic behind that. There's no proof of that, obviously, but that makes sense to me.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
I think there's going to be. I don't think we can even conceive of what this tour is going to look like yet. It's going to be insane. I think from like the Szechuan episodes and stuff, I think they're all equally excited to not only sing their group songs together, but to have the opportunity to do their solo songs. Yes.
So I think it'll be a really cool mix of both.
Yes. And I feel like because of the breadth of their discography, including their solo ventures now, I feel like it's going to be a long tour. Like, I feel like it's going to be a long tour. Like I feel like they might spread it out more, but I feel like it's going to be approaching, if not a year, like very, very close to it, perhaps more.
Perhaps more. I mean, if they take a note out of Coldplay's book, those guys went on tour for the entirety of Jin's entire enlistment. They were on tour before he left, and they were on tour when he got there.
They took breaks, so it's not like they and BTS has done this before too. They've been on tour, taken a small break, technically still on tour, but taking breaks to do other things.
And that's what I foresee for the comeback tour. I feel like, it's not going to hit until like 2026 because these really long tours take a lot of prep time.
Yes.
And so like, I feel like we're going to see like 2026 into 2027 list of tour with like where they're going slow, like Coldplay did, where it's not like every single weekend they're doing something.
Right. I think they're gonna.
It's just consistent and seemingly nonstop. It just keeps going, and it's amazing.
I agree. I feel like they're going to want to go places. I feel like they're going to want to go places that they either haven't been or they haven't been in a long time, especially if it's someplace that got canceled from Map of the Soul.
Right.
I feel like they're going to want to make that up to people, even though it wasn't their fault. I feel like they will definitely have that in mind. And so that's another reason why I think it's going to be really long, because they probably have a lot of places they want to go.
Well, the longer it is, the more breaks they can take, which means the more real life things they can also do. If they want to have relationships, if they want to do other things, if they want, you know what I mean? Like they'll have those opportunities to do those on breaks, to spend
and also just not physically exhaust themselves the way they did in prior tours.
And if they give themselves that slow roll for a long tour, they also allow themselves the opportunity to switch up their solo songs and switch up their set list. So that way, it's a variety for both them.
The way I want to see them perform each other's solo songs.
We have been talking about this. You know that this is one of my favorite hobbies.
Yes. I want to see them perform each other's songs so
That'd be amazing.
I need to be out here performing RM songs.
Yeah, I need Taehyung singing "Come Back to Me" like there's no business.
He's practicing right now. He's been practicing for a year.
Nice. Just needs it. Yeah, them doing each other's songs.
And then Jimin singing Seven. Jimin singing Seven.
Can Yoongi sing Arson?
Oh,
he could.
I want to see Yoongi.
Okay, but now I just want to see a Yoongi cover of Hope World. He'd get like 3 words in it.
If we could get a I Wonder with JK and Hobi together and see that together, and that would be amazing.
Yes.
Units doing each other's songs would also be glorious. I mean, they
JK
talked
to do
about
all
it a
of the
little
female
bit.
featured artists.
Well, and RM dropped the hint that he wants to do subunits, so I think that's coming.
Know. He talked about
What do you think of subunit album?
Subunits on the next album would be like,
or an entire album of subunit songs.
Yes, a whole album of subunits. I would die.
Yeah, part of me can't see them doing subunits the way other K-pop groups do subunits. You know what I mean? But I could see them doing like an album of subunit songs.
Yeah, where they just like mix and match in different
because they've done
groups.
subunit songs before that were just part of the regular album. But like part of me, I would be surprised if I saw them like form a subunit with a name and like brand that name.
No,
I don't think they do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like an album that is exclusively filled with just random subunits.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. But yeah, like I said, I don't see them doing like, I can't, the only one I can think of is one that's like super controversial right now, so I won't say it, but you guys know way more about other K-pop groups. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's already like the rap line, but like they're never branded as the rap line.
A subunit, yes, like the rap line and the vocal line technically are subunits in BTS, so they don't make a big deal about it. But like some groups have subunits that they actually name, and they actually put out songs separate from albums and things like that. And they perform sometimes as subunits. Like Stray Kids has their rap line, which is 3RACHA, and they produce music as 3RACHA sometimes outside of Stray Kids. But BTS doesn't do that. But when they say subunit, they just mean like different members pairing up, or
a song that has several members, but not all of them.
Yes. And so when the first Mini Moni album exchange, when they were when Jimin and Namjoon were talking about right place, wrong person, Namjoon mentioned that he wanted, when they came back, he was like, we should do subunits. And Jimin was like, yeah, we should. And then they were just like, oh my God. And then they just started naming different pairings of like pairings that hadn't already happened before on like a BTS album. And
I need to hear Jungkook sing Around the World in a Day, the Moses Sumney part.
Yes. So we collectively lost our minds because we were like a whole album of subunit songs. Yes, please.
Yes.
Feed us.
Yeah.
Oh, hi,
You know what Tay would be really good at rapping? If we finally get Tay rapping, he could kill the shit out of Lil Sim's part in Domodachi.
You totally could.
He would rap his little heart out.
He would rap.
You would love every second of that.
Oh, that would be so good. Okay, sorry. Like I said, this is one of my favorite hobbies. I'm in their DMs all the time.
Don't get them started, people. Don't get them started.
Have you ever thought about this one singing this one? And they're like, no, but...
Now I am. Now everyone's going to be thinking about it all night tonight.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So let's go ahead and discuss the big controversial, let's get it over with. And a brief mention of the whole RIIZE situation.
I do think it's what kicked off the resurgence of the Yoongi thing.
Well, here's my thing, and I'm going to make my little statement that nobody, and here again in my disclaimer of this is my opinion and my opinion alone. I'm not going to be controversial, but this is why my stance is always you do not cave to the mob. Because when you do, then they feel empowered and they pull more shit. And that's basically what they did. They got their way. Or they think they did, whatever the politics behind it was or the reasoning behind it or whatever. But they feel like they got their way because of their fit throwing, and now they're going to just keep doing it. And it's going to turn. It's to me, it's gross. It's gross.
It is really gross. It is really gross. I mean, and for like a really quick, non-sorted rundown of what happened.
Let's summarize.
A member of RIIZE was basically forced to resign from the group. He had been on hiatus almost since they debuted, because of some things that were, I guess, came to light about him, things that happened pre-debut, very minor things in the grand scheme of...
Can we say what they are, or are we not going to say what they are?
I think we could say what they are.
We can say.
Yes, he was seen smoking, and oh no, he had a girlfriend before the group debuted.
Pre-debut.
Pre any potential contract being signed where he could have been in violation of a rule.
Right,
like
he was just a kid.
Yeah,
with his girlfriend.
And so teenage things, he admitted to it.
Teenager.
There were complaints almost immediately when the group debuted. That's why he went on hiatus. And then recently they were bringing him off of hiatus because they were like, okay, well, the shit has No one's talked about it. Everything is settled. We're good
Everybody's been
now.
talking about other stuff for a while.
Yeah, so now let's bring him back into the group. And then all of a sudden, the trolls came out of the woodwork, and it was unacceptable, apparently, to those people for him to rejoin the group that he worked for years training to debut with, and got to perform with for maybe 2 months. 2 months before he got put on hiatus. I mean, it was so extreme what they did. We already know the tactics, the wreaths, the letters, the what have you, all of that, the trucks, all of that demanding his removal from the group. It was so extreme that he finally just resigned.
Within 48 hours of rejoining?
Yeah.
It was within a few days. Yeah.
And he is, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's young, and that's his whole career.
I think
So
21, I think is what I said.
21, real young, real fucking young. So that's what happened, and he was forced to resign, and all of these things were outside of that. Now RIIZE is with SM. And so all of these things were outside the SM building, the wreaths, all of the same things that we're seeing at HIVE right now. They were
People
outside
protesting at concerts. I think people with signs at concerts.
So yeah. This poor kid has to resign, has to leave, sees all this stuff about him, and that's it. That's so now, and then, so these people, and they were a 7-member group. Now he's left, and so these people are calling themselves like OT6 fan, that like that, and so now we have the opposite thing. It's very similar. It smacks. It's so similar.
Yep.
To discourse that we have been hearing in regards to BTS, that it's it's pretty impossible to ignore anyway when a young person like that gets their hopes and dreams shattered for no good reason. But it is eerily similar. And it's a testament to what could have happened if BTS was not who they are. If BTS was not BTS.
Right.
If Yoongi was not Yoongi.
Yes. And so that's kind of where we wanted to segue. I mean, first of all, we all feel terrible for him.
Yes.
Yes.
And even though, like, I could name you a couple of RIIZE songs, but I'm not like a huge fan. I haven't really gotten into them that much. I don't know that much about them. But that doesn't mean that we don't care about human beings and other groups who are just trying to have their career. And so that's a terrible thing. And we feel terribly for him and the rest of the group and their fans. And so their fans are going through it right now. Their actual real fans, I should say, are going through
I
it.
think they're called BRIIZE. Their fandom, BRIIZE. So BRIIZE. It's freaking, it's legitimately insane that something like this could happen over something so.
And it's not the first time.
Innocuous. It's not the first time. It's
actions that are legal for everyone and legal for him at the time. Like everything else, like technically what Yoongi did was illegal on some level. It was a low level traffic violation, it sounds like, but technically it was against the law. This is normal behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as I know, he was of age in the picture he was smoking. I don't know what the legal smoking age is there, but you know what I mean? Like that's so insane to me.
So I guess to me, the question becomes, with it being, is it important, number one, but with it seemingly being important for all these companies to take their groups international, will there be any attempt to understand, like, because I personally cannot wrap my head around what's happening over there right now, that this kind of behavior is allowed and not immediately, like, you know what I mean? Like, so will there be any kind of, we understand that the anger and the feelings from international army, from pretty much every place else, that is absolutely finds us abhorrent, and we will take steps to change? Or are they just going to be like, this is how we are, this is how we've always done it, like it or don't?
I think that it starts to look forward to that possible change. Like, we have to understand where the idol system, like, has come from. Like, insofar as it's not just because I think we discussed this when we were talking about bringing the topic on the live. I think we discussed the fact that South Korea does have a big drinking culture, and they have a lot of people smoke there. And so it's seemingly, I mean, while it might not be celebrated behavior in their society, it's seemingly normal or normalized in their society. But idols in the entertainment world, they are called idols for many specific reasons. But one of those specific reasons is they're meant for people to look up to. Like
they're deitized.
Yeah, they're slightly deitized. They are put on a pedestal where they are meant to exemplify who people want to be. So they are meant to be perfect. They are meant to be above those things, like having any kind of scandal, like whether it's dating, smoking, drinking, anything that implies, I guess, normal human behavior, so to speak. That's from the time that the idol system kind of came into Korea, that's what it was kind of built on, that notion. And so as the years have gone by, we've seen incremental changes. Now, granted, I haven't been a K-pop fan since all the way back in the day. I just know what I've learned by going back and doing my research. You know, like, we've seen incremental changes through that, but Korea there's still that base default of this is how an idol should conduct themselves. And even somebody who's training to be an idol, they should automatically conduct themselves this way. But
even somebody who may want to someday train to be an idol.
Yeah, because the internet is far reaching now.
And that's one part of it, sure. But I think my other problem is just as much that the industry, the companies don't immediately come out and smack down these people that do the wreaths and the bullshit and the death threats and all that stuff. I mean, I really don't now, not that I'm part of the other fandoms because I don't see stuff, but if I didn't see Big Hit releasing their fuck around, find out emails every once in a while, I'd be pissed. So yeah. Are other companies doing that? Are other companies going after these SOBs and being like, you know, don't fuck with our people? Or are they just let this stuff slide? That's what I think. That's what I get most heated about. I get that they're an idol and that's great. I love that I don't love that they don't let them do anything, but I love that they set a high standard. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with, it seems like the negative fan bullshit is almost stoked and what's the word? Encouraged almost, because they don't smack it down. They don't smack it down at all.
They pander to it. They cater to
right.
it. Right. Because like, if you think about it, HYBE would fucking never make an announcement and then let a bunch of RIIZE on a curbside and a bunch of protests change their announcement. Right. They would make an announcement and stick by their announcement. And so, like, they kowtowed to the level of bullying.
Okay, hold on. I want to correct some. Okay, some people are saying it's entertainment, even bad publicity is publicity. People are unaliving themselves because of the treatment they're getting. That is not fucking entertainment. I'm sorry. That is not entertainment. And at some point, people are going to have to be like, this is not an okay culture. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Somebody made the really good point that other companies in Korea, which is what we're kind of talking about, like how the artists get treated. Not now, Alexa. How artists get treated at other companies. And we're not here to bash a company unilaterally. Let me just say that right now. We're just talking about specific instances here. But in K-pop, there were historically 3 big companies that held the majority of artists who got a lot of attention. But now HYBE has entered the picture in the last few years because of BTS. Obviously, first it was Big Hit Music or Big Hit Entertainment, and then they became HYBE and Big Hit Music became the label. and Big Hit Entertainment became HIVE, and now HIVE is big, and now there's 4 big companies, basically, lots of smaller ones, 4 big companies. But somebody made a really good point. I think it was Lana, that the 3 other companies in Korea, they don't have the same kind of international influence that HIVE does.
Right.
And so I do think that HIVE cares more about what the international fans are thinking and saying, because I think that like SM and YG and JYP, they think about the Korean market first. And I think that HIVE thinks about the globe.
Yeah. And I don't think that, RIIZE's company, I don't think that they were anticipating the level of backlash they were going to get internationally. I don't think they realized just how angry not only their own international prizes were going to be, but the international K-pop community as a whole.
Yeah.
I don't think they expected dozens and dozens and dozens of international stores to stop carrying their products. I don't think they expected international fans to be chanting, RIIZE 7 at the concerts. I don't think they were anticipating the level of international backlash that they got in kowtowing to what basically amounts to unaliving threats. Because at the end of the day, these funeral wreaths are an unaliving threat.
Yep.
That is what they are.
They're like, do it. They're basically prompting them to do it.
You can whitewash it in any way you want. You can downplay it in any way you want. Sending a funeral wreath or thousands of funeral wreaths to a company is, in fact, an unaliving threat. And
With a fucking artist's name on it. With a name on it.
With a name on it. It is a directed, unaliving threat. And it should be treated as such. The fact that this is allowed in a country that doesn't like bullying, it boggles my mind.
Well, you can say that you don't like bullying, but still have a big bullying culture, which they do.
Say, don't they?
Right.
I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of what's shown in K dramas.
Yeah, not a culture, but they have a large problem with bullying.
So if you identify it, don't they have a ministry of K-pop or something? Can't they? I mean, if you've identified it's a massive
culture,
problem,
arts, and sports or something.
Yeah, culture and arts, and then.
I don't know why it's legal. I don't understand why it can be legal to get a petitioning license.
It's a protest permit.
Yeah,
basically.
protest permit that makes it to where it's illegal to damage these wreaths.
Yeah, and I mean, listen,
and put it back up the next morning.
The same thing happens here in the United States. People can get protest permits and do things, horrible things, in the name of protesting. And as long as they follow that exact letter of the law, what that permit tells them that they can do, there's nothing that the opposition, so to speak, or, whoever they're bothering can do about it, and it's a thing. It's a measure of free speech. I mean, it sucks, but that's how they get around it. That's what they do.
Right.
And that's how it is able to be legal for them to do it. So it's shitty, but
it's gross.
That's the way they're law.
What it is. It's very gross.
It's not just them. Other countries, including us here in the United States, have the same things available.
Well, at least we can name and shame.
That I want to address, that we've addressed before, but I don't know if they're new to the live. The question was, what can we as international army do that's effective and impactful? Something along those lines. Sorry. What can we do? And 2 things. If there's anything actually against terms of service of a platform, report it. If you're in a reporting group chat, send it there. If it's actionable, you think legally, report it to HIVE with their reporting portal. And the other thing you can do beyond that is to starve it of attention and starve it of energy.
Yep.
Don't share it for the sake of sharing, because all you're doing is making it hit the Korea Boo, the tabloid type things. You're making it hit other people's attention that may not have otherwise seen it. So starve it of oxygen. It's a fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and this is, again, it's just a learning thing as I've been like researching, you know, like as I got into BTS and some other groups, I did that thing where like, well, now I need to learn more. And, when I learned BTS's story and how intrinsically tied it was with their growing with their company, I became very interested in, well, what about these other groups and their companies, and learned that it was a very different story. You have to go all the way back to the 90s and the early 2000s when those companies were coming up. You had some sort of like little stories like that here and there. But a lot of these companies were founded by like well-established businessmen or former idols themselves. YG was founded by a former member of Sao Teji and the Boys, and they were the first recognized idol group in the 90s, and the man who founded YG was a member of that group, and JYP of JYP Entertainment, also a former. Well, he should be a former idol, but he just keeps on getting on.
He is an idol's idol. Part of it, now.
JY Puppy.
He's performing. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about the puppy, okay?
Yeah. And Lee Seunghan, the founder of SM Entertainment, also very well established in the business early on. But there's a lot of information. I encourage you guys to do your research and find out, because the K-pop idol system is not, it did not originate in Korea. It's actually from Japan. And there's a lot of really shady stuff that comes along with that. But basically, like, Lee So-min took that, the founder of SM took that system, the J-pop idol system, and brought it to Korea. And that is the training system, how they live together in dorms, and then how they form them, and the basic like code of conduct, and how they format their career after they debut is based on that. So I highly encourage you guys to do some research. Maybe we'll actually, maybe I'll do an Ask AP 529 to Leslie and see if she.
I was going to say that would be a great project for Leslie to really dive in. I mean, a series, maybe, not just one blog post, but a great series.
It's a lot of information, and there's some stuff in there, some bad stuff in there that I'm not going to talk about on a TikTok live.
Yeah. No, it will get us in trouble.
Yeah, it will get us in trouble.
Leslie will be great at that.
Talk about it. But yeah, I encourage. But see, Leslie already agreed. So now we're going to do an Ask AP 529 about it.
Yeah. I just saw really quick too, one of the comments that said like Detroit back in the 60s and 70s in the band. And I was just thinking in my head, even before that, the old Hollywood stories about the young actors and actresses in old Hollywood too. So it's not, this isn't a new
Not
thing.
new.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know that my problem is necessarily, it's not necessarily the idol system. I mean, although I think there's parts of it that are obviously
definitely problems.
but there's parts in every industry that are fucked up. I mean, that's just how life is. But, and I get what you're saying. And my rational mind says it's freedom of speech. I get all that. But maybe it's because it's Yoongi and I adore him.
Yeah. You don't have to like it.
No, I just mean the attack. The wreaths and the shit is so effing twisted that I cannot wrap my head around. That is one thing I've never seen anybody go to a Taylor Swift concert and set up,
Yeah, I think that is particularly gauche to us, because it's not something
disgusting.
It's not something that we associate with protesting something in the music industry, especially something like that.
Wishing death on people.
Like that type of wreath, we have wreaths at funerals, but that type of funeral wreath with a message on it is not something that really exists in our culture.
No, especially not an entertainment venue. I mean,
Well, yeah, but just like the whole concept of, because I know some people, like, one of the things people did to try to stop it was they would cut the ribbons off.
Right.
So there's a whole cultural thing with the REITs that I don't fully understand, I'll admit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think for me, it's the fact that, okay, I get a lot, like listening to
Christina said you got to invite her again, Steph.
Oh, sorry, Christina.
I understand a company wanting to like listen to the opinion, at least, of their fans. What I don't understand is this culture of an actual overt unaliving threat being allowed.
Right.
I just don't understand that being something allowed. Send your trucks, send your, like I get like protest being allowed, but protest in the form of an actual, I want to unalive you threat.
Or you do it to yourself.
You know what I think is
where I
weird?
want
You know what I think is weird?
yourself, like that I don't understand being allowed. I just don't understand.
So
If you want to say they're 6, which I don't want to say, to be clear, before anybody said, I don't want to, but if you want to say that, fine. But yeah, the death threats.
Here's why I think they do that. Because when I think of protest, I think of 1960s. You actually got your sign, you marched down to the building, and you showed everybody your face that you were saying a certain thing in protest of something. But now they're behind a keyboard. And so they can be so much more nasty when they don't have their faces associated with their protest.
Right.
Because I don't know if you guys already talked about this before, because I was gone for a little bit, but the people that organized those wreaths were there.
They were. I mean,
in front of the HIVE building.
in all their glory.
Like
Yep.
They were
talking
there.
now about the reason for the hype for UV, not
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they are not liking the consequences of showing their face. Right. At the
almost like-
moment.
It's
Right.
almost like actions have consequences.
Yeah.
Right.
so
So
they fucked around and now they're finding out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to me that protest, you could do it from behind a veil of secrecy and anonymity. That's very interesting to me.
I do think that's why it's escalated to things
Sure.
like this.
Sure.
It's because of that, yes. The
Yeah.
anonymity of it makes people feel powerful and
Right.
untouchable.
Right. So that's why
clearly
they can
felt
get
so untouchable that they thought that they could go to the HIVE building and stand there and prevent people from messing with the RIIZE all day and not have people figure out who they were
yeah.
and who their brother, sister's, mother's, cousin's wife is also.
We fucking can identify a member's toe from 100 yards away. You think we're not going to be able to figure out who the fuck you are? Yeah.
So then they just doubled down and revealed their crazy even more, because it takes a certain level, not just anonymity, but it takes a certain level of psychosis to be this dedicated to something like this. They doubled down and went online and further revealed their crazy and their faces and made even worse, and did even worse things, said even worse
I
things.
mean, they put their face and their written word to things that can get them into legal trouble now.
Yes. And so that's, you know what? That's on them now. They're out there. Honey, go ahead. But it clearly takes a level of crazy, because aside from the morality, like you were talking about, Stephanie, of like how awful it is that they do this shit, I can't even also wrap my head around the time and the monetary commitment to it as well.
Yeah.
Because their shit isn't cheap. And it's day after day. They get taken down, they're back the next day. They get taken down, they're back the next day. The trucks, the billboards, like that's a lot of money. And it's a lot of time organizing it. Like, who are these people?
Yep.
Right. And like,
Well, they've got to have big money behind it. They've got to, right?
Can they please have another hobby?
I mean, the protest wreaths for RIIZE, what did they say? There were 1,000 wreaths and for a certain number of days, and they estimated out that at the very minimum was like $90,000 to $100,000, but probably more. If they were, I mean, just think about what would happen if they would have donated that money to UNICEF instead of unaliving threats.
Yep.
Well, we talk about this all the time, and I see this as almost the perfect rejoinder to a lot of these anti-tweets when they get going, and that is why don't you focus on doing something positive for your guys?
Yep.
Right.
Focus that energy instead of focusing it on us and how much we suck as ARMY and how much you hate BTS. Flip it on the positive side.
And send some to the poor kid that just had his life destroyed for freaking having a girlfriend, and now he doesn't have a job, and he's just disgraced. I mean, I'm joking,
like a decade ago. Well, maybe not that long ago, but still, literally years.
Well, I mean, by definition, I mean bullying just doesn't make any sense in any capacity. It just doesn't make any sense.
It really
and the fact that some of it is allowed, I feel I think about my own kids, and if I found out that one of my own kids would do something like that, I'm Stephanie sometimes.
I feel disappointed in myself.
I just can't get in the headspace of somebody that would do that. That's what's so hard.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me sometimes from quickly responding in Twitter, because I'm like, I really got to think about this. Like, who would do this? And what kind of response do I think they would even listen to? Right.
Well, what kind of response do they want? That's the other thing. It's like, okay, is the point we're trying to keep everybody riled up because that's what we get off on? Or is it we're really trying to get them to hurt? I mean, what is the goal here? Because to me, in my mind, I effing can't figure it out.
Yeah,
Because
is there an actual goal that makes sense?
Like, truly, who hurt you? Not us, but like these people who are doing this. Like, how do you wake up every morning and do this?
Right. And if you get your goal, and let's say the RIIZE or somebody that you do this to, let's talk in unnamed, unimaginable things, because I don't even want to wish this on anybody. But let's say you do this whole thing, right? You encourage somebody to hurt themselves, and they do. Then what is your
Where do you go from there?
what is your reaction to that then? You're proud?
Do you sleep
What
at
do you
night?
want or what?
Do you sleep at night if somebody unalived
celebrate?
themselves
I don't
because
know.
you sent 1,000
How do you sleep at night?
things to them?
And I just can't imagine waking up in the morning and being like, I'm going to fuck with somebody's self-esteem today. Like, I'm going to be somebody feel like
I'm
real
gonna
shit
ruin
about
somebody's
themselves.
entire fucking career today, or try to. Like, how do you sleep at night if you succeed?
Yeah, and I mean the thing is that, like, again, there's something not right.
There's something
Has to
absolutely
be. Yeah.
psychologically
People's
broken.
heads. Because
And the fact that so many of them come together, so many of these wackadoodles come together to do it.
Well, okay, but wait, because this is the thing about Twitter that I always tell people. There is a small minority that gets way blown out of proportion in terms of how much percentage they really represent. And it because the way that the algorithm works is whatever's hot is hot, whether or not it's positive or negative, right? And so I want to back out of that just a little bit and say, at least I know that it's usually the ones that are the loudest and the worst,
Right.
that will get retweeted and talked about. So at least there's that. Like, I don't think it's a lot of people.
But the problem is with them being the loudest, the problem with them being the loudest is that's who the artist is also hearing. That's what they're hearing.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to disagree, because yes, they do monitor social media, and they have people that monitor it, and they get kind of like a lay of the land when things are trending and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and also you've got to recognize big money comes from big places most of the time.
Yeah.
So, like, is it really these three freaking people that were on the corner that spent how many fucking thousands and thousands of dollars to put those out? Or are they just like the front face and somebody else is actually pushing this from behind the scenes? So,
Look, we can't speculate as to who it might be, but it seems unlikely that these three girls raised all this money themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
They look real young. Chances are they either come from money, like they've got rich mommies and daddies, or somebody else is paying for it.
Yeah.
So that, yes, probably not them. And whoever this third dude is.
Third dude.
Right.
Third dude.
Right.
With the bar, with the
Officially known as third dude.
You know,
the
if
dude.
you're looking at the RIIZE with the Yoongi situation right now, you gotta
Yeah.
look at whose
Yeah.
best interest is it for Hive to fall apart while all the guys are in the military, and then you
We're
kind
not
of
speculating.
understand why things are happening the way they're happening. Because
we don't-
this is speculation. This is speculation.
No dots are being connected. No dots being connected.
I'm not saying any company names. I'm not saying any people names, but there are entities who have benefit if BTS falls apart. And so
Well,
now
of course.
Dream on, assholes. Dream on. It ain't happening.
you can listen, somebody who is very, very good at manipulation and convincing people of other things can easily pull some people in to do their bidding,
Yeah.
especially if that person is potentially psychologically unstable.
Yeah. I think what kind of made me sad today is not Yoongi seeing it, but also one of the first days Hobi goes back to the company. That's what he has to go past.
Well, that's why I did it, and that's why you just have to.
No, I don't
I
think
know.
he has to go past it. I think he's
do it.
pulled into a back
Hopefully.
underground parking spot.
I know, but you guys even said he knows it's out there when he got
Well, you know
And
what?
I'm sure he was well briefed.
You
I'm sure
know
he
what's
was well
sad to me?
He has
What's
social media.
really sad to me is now those girls, the consequences,
Or steep.
the people, if indeed they were funded by someone else, these girls are the ones who are going to be affected for the rest of their lives.
right.
And I mean, Army, it's an amazing fandom for many reasons, but one of my favorite things about them is most of us are archivists.
Yeah.
We will take screenshots and usernames and say, oh, hey, are you back? I remember that one tweet you made about BTS back in 2014, and here's the screenshot, bitch.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's amazing.
Well, I mean, Army's been through the fucking trenches from the beginning, and also our
Right.
games have taught us that people delete some shit within minutes of posting it, and so
That's
if you
right.
put the screenshot right in fucking way,
Right.
we might not get it.
Well, so
That's
here's
right.
my question.
But-
So do we think this is all going to happen again when he gets discharged?
I don't even want to think about it.
No,
Yeah, you know
I don't-
what?
I think they're utilizing the absence right now. I don't think they would dare once he's
Yeah.
actually out.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
well, but
really, we don't know.
here's the
but-
other thing too, is that when we respond the way that we did today, and I want to give a shout out to the armies that were physically there, because
They were
you could have tripped over those wreaths and gotten in trouble. You
Right.
could have confronted those girls. You could have done stuff that would have gotten yourself in trouble and maybe not have been the best look for
Right.
for you. But instead, you went the positive route.
They were
you
fantastic.
celebrated. You were fantastic. And
so good.
the fact that now you have shown what we can do in the face of that kind of thing, now that's in their heads too. They're
Right.
like, okay, what happened last time when we tried to do this is that armies threw a party and
Right,
celebrated.
and they formed a barrier
Yeah.
and put OT7 signs between
Right.
the building and the wreaths.
Right.
And they sang and they cheered and they brought
Right.
coffee and food and they fed people.
Exactly. And so
And they
now
didn't make hands at all.
right.
They-
And so now if I'm the money behind the wreaths, whoever I am, I'm definitely going to do a little bit more of a cost benefit analysis in terms of the money that I'm spending and the results that I'm going to get.
Right.
Right.
Just please let me believe that they were like a villain in the background, like, no,
Yeah.
my
They-
plan.
Scooby Doo.
They absolutely were, because they wanted some international armies to go ape shit on those wreaths. They wanted to be able to splash that across the news. They wanted to be able to say, look, all international armies they're just so stupid. They're coming over here. They're doing blah, blah, blah. Like that was going to be a great storyline for them if they could get it. And they got nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it speaks to what we were talking about earlier. That's like peak putting your energy into something good. That's affecting good. That's turning away from literally turning your back on the negative and presenting something positive as an alternative. And that is the best way to actually affect change.
Yes.
No, I love the fact that fandoms are so active and they do that. My goal, my wish though, is also that companies or the government would rise up and step in at this point.
I would love to see. I would love to see more company reformation, and I do believe
More fuck around and find out.
I do believe that South Korea is working their way towards it. I think it's happening slower than it should, but I also do think it is starting to happen.
Right. Well, I think you're watching it in real time.
Yeah.
And you know, it's never going to be fast enough for those of us, you know,
Right.
I mean,
that see it all the time.
Yeah.
Think back to in the 2010s, when we had, I can't remember the group, but like, you know, basically a few artists, they came forward and they worked really hard. Like they, you know, raised up the issue of the reason that idols now have 7-year contracts was because before the contracts were almost endless. Those first contracts that they would sign, they could be for like 13 plus years, that these people would be locked into a contract and unable to renegotiate no matter what level their career went to or anything. So they could be stuck back in a debut deal, and they're like 10 plus years into their career, like making bucks and not getting returns on it, and also being worked to death. And so like there were artists in the 2010s that were like, no, this isn't okay, and some stepped forward, and that was revamped, and now the whole contract system was overhauled, and so now we have 7-year contracts at the max for artists, which is still a long time, but it can take that long for a career to be established too. So,
right.
You know,
Well, and
change can happen.
yeah, and wouldn't it be amazing too if BTS decided someday, maybe, I don't know, to, you know, try to enact change in those areas with their influence and their knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just saying that they could be in a position later if they wanted to, you know, do that. And
Which is totally something I can see them doing.
which is totally cool.
I mean, they've already enacted lots of changes inside of the industry, and I mean, they started the whole. Well, they may not have been the original people, but they were the most famous people to re-up contracts early, because they were like, "What? We're done with this shit. We're going to stop it unless you change some stuff." And the company redid the contract early. Now they've redone every single contract they've ever had early. And so, you know, like, and other groups have done that since then.
They learned,
Right.
and they're
Well, we've also seen just the way that the guys, the men, have already started treating those behind them. They treat them loving. They give them respect. They take care of them. I think they're already trying with the power that they have to sort of change that sort of momentum and to change that culture in the way that they have the ability to. With as big as they are, as huge as they are, with as much power as they have, I think that'll all start churning its way up, and maybe all that grossness will come. Hopefully fandoms will follow. There's always going to be sickos out there, so you can't really control that. But they're leading by example already. And I think had they all not been away for the most part, they would continue to be doing that right now.
Well,
I think it's a really good point in the comments that a lot of artists now, and I think that this does stem from like the power that they see that BTS has, and like things that they know that they can achieve as artists. A lot of artists are leaving their companies and they're forming their own companies now. And I think that those companies are going to be the future of K-pop. I think gradually, like, you're still going to have your big companies, but I think there's going to be a lot more like smaller companies coming up and grabbing pieces of that pie, and they're going to be showing different idol culture. I think they're going, because the people who are starting these companies know how they were treated as idols, and they don't want the same thing moving forward. Like big artists who maybe their group is still with the company, but they've all left individually, and a lot of them are starting their own companies, and they're doing things differently. So, and I think the example of BTS, like, showing that you don't have to be treated a certain way to still be successful probably had a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I think, again, what would Bangtan do? It should always be our approach to things. And if you even see the current situation, what the fuck did Bangtan do? They gave us cutesy, smiling, elf beanie eater photographs on Instagram to let us know that they're not fazed by the nonsense happening on the street. That they're not going to kowtow and roll over like other companies have. That they're still here, they're still doing them, they're still chatting on Weavers, they're still posting on Instagram. They're letting us know that, you know what, we're gonna let the legal team retaliate in the law, within the realms of the law, and we are gonna continue as we are and in our way. And so, you know, I think in every situation, if you kind of look at the barometer or the thermometer that Bangtan is giving us,
Right.
the temperature we were given
Right.
police on the street was a very positive temperature.
Right. Can I say something too about positivity and about fighting? Because I've seen two comments so far. One comment was, "What can I do?" basically, and the other comment was kind of talking about how sometimes international armies will say something about the way K armies are moving, or this army from this country about this. I think this, me personally, because I've been part of many teams, including this admin team, that I think the solution is to play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Brazilian armies are really good at doing X, and Russian armies are really good at this, and K armies are really good at this, and American armies are really good at this, let's figure out our strengths, share with each other, mobilize, and just on all fronts make the best things happen for BTS and Army on all fronts with what we're good at.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
because I think
infantry,
where the
right.
So where the friction happens sometimes is that you expect somebody to move like you, and it's not always possible, because we're talking about a giant group of people all trying to, coordinate with each other and do the same thing, and it's sometimes it works fairly well, but other times it's like, I can see the friction on Twitter. Yeah. And I want to just be able to say, like, hey, stick to what you're super good at. If streaming and organizing streaming projects is what you're good at, then freaking go. Stream the shit out of it. Make those projects and get your word out. If what you're really good at is fundraising, or if what so I think if we just focus on our strengths and how we can help each other, I think it'll go a long way, more than just arguing sometimes. And I don't see a lot of that on my timeline. And
so,
I'm not saying,
what do you think, being on Twitter or X, whatever the hell we call it, what do you think the different strengths of, like, what do you think American Army, what their strength is, and Brazilian Army, like, are you able to kind of see that, since you're kind of looking at it at the broad?
I mean, I'm by no means an expert, and I do not have a degree in international relations. All right.
Pretend.
But what I can see is, I'll give you an example for, like, the Brazilian army, right? Or the Latam army, right? They did a walk where they showed up by the thousands and were walking in their purple, marching for Yoongi and supporting the 7. And they put it all over social media, and people got to see their smiling faces and got to see them show up in person to support the guys. That is awesome. And sometimes I think as American armies, we're very spread out. I mean, look at the 6 of us, admin, right? It takes a freaking act of God to get us in the same room. Right.
Or
plane tickets once a year.
Right. But if U.S. Army are really good at the kinds of things that the guys want in terms of Western awards, in terms of Billboard, Grammys, things like that, and then we can go ahead and reverse engineer what it's going to take to get our guys there, then that's something that U.S. armies can do really easily and really well. So again, I'm not saying that like I'm pigeonholing everybody and that's what you have to do if that's your country and your army, but I'm saying like use your strengths, right?
Right.
And you might have strengths you don't even know about yet, because who knew we were going to be fighting this battle the way that we are? Who knew? I didn't. I didn't know I was going to be studying, about Korean media conglomerates.
Right.
What the hell, right?
Right.
I was just like listening to mic drop.
Yeah.
Another
Here we are. Everybody, everywhere. It doesn't matter what your country of origin or where you're at. If you see the negative stuff come across your timeline, report it, block it. If it looks like it's a legitimate, real threat, put it on the HOD portal so that HOD lawyers can get them in their find out era. And so, sending things. The reality is the HOD portal has categories. If it fits into a category, put it in that category, report it. If it's not something they can do legally, they won't. But if it is, they will. And so there's no such thing as too much reporting as long as it fits inside the categories they've given you. You can't just report stuff because, like, I don't like their tone. That's not a
valid reason.
Starts legitimately giving real threats towards members, report that to the HOD portal, because that's something you can do no matter your country of origin.
Right.
You can donate to UNICEF in BTS's name. Like, you can make real changes in your region and in your area that don't require you to get an airline ticket to South Korea, because not all of us can do that.
And spending money to like fight fire with fire, as in buying positive billboards or positive trucks or things like that. It may seem like a great idea. It may seem like you're trying to put the attention on a positive thing instead of the negative thing, or cover it up. But it's not really, because all you're doing is creating a bigger cacophony. Like more people.
I don't know. I thought today was really helpful to hide those reads.
The way that they did it was great, but they weren't like buying billboard trucks. They weren't buying other reads or things like that. They were just blocking them, weren't they?
Well, no.
They bought food trucks.
trucks.
They bought coffee trucks. There were billboard trucks there, so they did do those things.
But I mean, by and large, like, that's something, and they were there and they were actually like showing their support, and they were doing something positive, and they were like actually giving people food and, things like that. There's a difference with that versus just the RIIZE and what I'm saying is like, you don't have to do something like that. And in fact, like, taking the attention away from that is far more effective than adding to the noise, is what my point is, to that effect. I don't think it's a word.
I agree with you, Quince. I think there are different feelings within the team, which is fine.
It's fine.
No, so I totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. With the only caveat that I would say is, as the antis change up their game, we have to also change up our game as well. And as long as we're flexible, because I thought today was a perfect way to counteract what was going on, in my opinion. Do I always think that food trucks and that are the answer? I don't know. I guess it just depends on the situation.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that to affect positive change, you have to think a little bit. I think we need to think a little bit harder. And it's not just a question of where can I throw money to cover something up or something like that. It's more
I think
like,
sometimes it's just people don't like feeling powerless, and they don't like feeling voiceless. And I think sometimes just to be able to put yourself behind something and be like, look what I've done, is something that makes them feel like they've done something. And I don't know that you can say that that's the wrong way to do it. It's just a different way to do it.
Well, and the reality is what the I Army and K Army on the ground today did was, it was impactful.
Yeah.
it sent a very, very clear message that to, you know, even though we don't believe that Hive would cave to the bullying tactics, like it still sent a very clear message to Hive that there are more of us who don't like this than the 4 people on the corner, 5 people on the corner who do. You know, so there was that handful of people who organized it. And then there's this huge amount of people, you know, putting a physical barrier line between with OT7 signs and,
Right.
you know, chanting and dancing and singing. And so, like, you know, sometimes action does make an impact. Now,
I'm not saying anything against action.
Oh, I know.
No.
Definitely.
At the end of
I
the
think
day,
that there's a way to have impact that doesn't require spending money. One of the things we loved the most was Purple Ribbon, and we love the one with just the picture, but also how many people, for nothing more than the cost of buying a Purple Ribbon, how many people made those TikToks and those videos
That's right.
all over the world? Like that was a very
Those
low
did.
cost, but very
That's my
impactful thing.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
There's a better way.
I buy what you're selling.
Yeah.
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 I think there's a better way than spending money necessarily.
I agree. For those who were already there in Korea when this
Yes.
took place, who chose to stand on the corner and that didn't cost them extra money. They were there.
Right.
And they chose to stand there and that cost them only time and, you know, and doing that, which was phenomenal. For those who cannot make it there, don't feel like you can't do anything. You can still block, you can still report, you can still send things to the Hive reporting system. You can still donate to UNICEF in their name if you have the means to do so. You can still, you know, do things in your community and do it in their name and put it on social media so that we can blow that thing up. You know,
I saw somebody comment with something.
things you can do.
I saw somebody comment with something that I thought that was a really salient, like jumping off point. It said, "Is the point to feel better or is it to do better?" And I think it's both, and I think it kind of requires both.
Okay.
Because
Both are okay.
you have to start. You have to start. You can't. In order to really do better, you have to start working towards feeling better, and that goes for anything. That goes for anything. It goes for trying to help somebody else and affect positive change. And it also means even just affecting positive change in your own life.
To make someone do, you must first make them feel.
Yes. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship there, you know, so.
And something else you can do for free is you can write 3 letters a month on Weavers to whomever. And so you can write 3 letters a month on Weavers to Yoongi for free that are going directly to him that says, I love you and I support you and we're here for you. That's something you can do.
Yeah. So all of this to say that it is very clear that BTS has had an impact on and the way that K-pop is viewed now. They've had a big impact because it's not just Korea looking at K-pop now. It's the world to a degree. And because of this,
BTS paved the way.
yes, we do think, I think most of us think that we're going to continue to see changes in the future. And hopefully more positive changes than negative ones, because that's the kind of vibe that BTS is putting out into the world. So let us know what you guys think, you know?
Well, they always lead by example, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, but and they're human. So so they make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's also okay to own up to that and to work towards doing better. And that's what they always do, and that's what we hope to do as well.
Yep.
This is a good discussion.
Yeah, no, it really was. And trust when I say, like, we feel it too. I can feel it whenever I go on social media these days. We all get frustrated because we want to do more. We want to do the most, right?
Yeah. When you're like thousands and thousands of miles away.
It's frustrating. It's hella frustrating. And it can feel really paralyzing.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, especially when you feel like people's mental health and their lives are, under attack, and you know what I mean? Like that's heavy stuff. And so I think, it was a heavy week anyway because of other things that went on. And I think those protective instincts start coming up, which I think only speaks to how wonderful these groups are, that we so much want to protect the members, right? That we're willing to do whatever we have to do them. And that it would spark this kind of conversation only goes to show the passion that they've brought about through what they've done, which there is still yet to come. So,
well, we have to end on that. There can't be any more perfect way to end than that. Stephanie's like, and scene.
Thank you guys as always for coming and helping out and hanging out with us. We do have a new blog dropping in just a couple of hours, or less than 2 hours actually. So week 42, make sure you check that out. And we'll be back on Wednesday. We will be back on Wednesday this time.
Yep.
On our project account, Army Project 529 here on the Tiki Taki. Mm-hmm. So make sure you join us. We'll be doing some BTS news, and who knows, maybe we'll have some week tea.
We usually do.
We didn't even talk about it.
Tea coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about it.
Maybe we'll have had some something from Hobi by then. Who knows?
It'll be amazing.
Who knows?
And we will have Jen, and I guess a lot of people won't watch it till Friday, but we'll have the haunted house. So
I think yes, and I think we'll be able to really talk about the happy promotion schedule on next Wednesday too.
Yeah. We got to pump Jen. We got to make this album go everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. On Kim Sok Jin.
We'll be able to discuss the concept.
At the end of the day, I feel like everybody should approach the haters in the same way that beautiful Army on the ground did today, and just annyeong, bitch.
Yeah.
Annyeong, bitch. Maybe that's how we should just end our lives from now on.
That'll be our pose moment too for the haters who want to take.
For who always taking screenshots of us.
Hags out.
Hags out.
Hags out. Peace.
Yeah, we're not sure this says I'm young, bitch. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Love you. Bora hey.